looking at a very critical issue that's been making rounds, in the last couple of weeks, and has allegedly resulted into the death of a JSS1 student of Udoh College. I'm talking about bullying and cultism in secondary schools. It's a menace in our society. It's a threat to our safety. It's a threat to society's safety. It's also a threat to our children's safety and security. Now, the issue of the death of Sylvester Oromoni is a moving story. It's a developing story, and then we have recent reports where they have accosted and arrested three of the students, involved in the death of Sylvester. Also, a recent development is also the Parents Teachers Association meeting. That's the PTA meeting in Udoh College. They had a meeting recently, and then here is part of that conversation. Have a listen. All right, that's the inset from the PTA meetings of the teachers and then the parents in Udoh College. Yes, to help me make sense of this topic for today, I'm talking about bullying and cultism in secondary school. I have here Oluwatosin Mogbadunade. She is a visionary educator. She writes, trains, and also counsels on issues pertaining to family, schools, and corporate clients. I also have Balogun Mayowa. Well, he's still trying to make his way down to the studio. He's caught in traffic. He is the founder and coordinator of Balogun Mayowa Anti-Cultism Campaign Organization, and he's been to several secondary schools to enlighten the students about the dangers and cultism for the past 5 years. Now, let's go straight into business. Tosin, let's talk about bullying in secondary school. What's your position about the matter that's unfolded over the last couple of weeks about a child who was allegedly forced to join a cult group, and so he was initiated by being given, toxic and dangerous substance to drink?
All right. We need to first realize and accept the fact that human beings are social animals. There is a need for us to relate and interact with people. Hence, hence you see a lot of students joining cults, groups, and associations. First of all, the family is the first agent of civilization. Every child in school, at every place of gathering, came from a home. So the place of our home in the issue of bullying cannot be underemphasized. Sending a child to an expensive school or having home staff does not relieve a parent from the duties of care and due diligence of parenting. So first of all, we need to start looking at the home.
The home front.
Yes, the home front, the parents. Where were the students of these children? When the parents of these children, when things were happening, when they got home, do the parents have a good relationship with their students, to their with their children, to be able to really listen to them and understand what's happening to them? Secondly is the fact that educators, we can't act like this is conventional education time.
Yes.
The times have changed a lot. A lot
yes.
has changed, and educators need to be trained. We can't turn a deaf ear. I'm sure that there were housemasters on that floor.
Yes.
There were educators in that school that knew about the things that were happening, but they chose to turn a deaf ear as to what was happening. So educators need to accept what's happening and be trained for the times. No longer do we need people that maybe did not get a good job, that's why they're in the classroom. We need trained educators, passionate educators that will be able to address the issues on ground.
Now,
Yes.
Tosin, let me just jump in there. What kind, you mentioned the home front as a critical factor. In fact, family is the first agent of socialization. Now, apart from the home front, let's talk about the schools, for instance. What kind of policy do you think should be in place such that a child is not bullied?
Okay, so when I realized that this Sylvester was a boarding house student,
Yes.
in my company Plan Path Consult, we advise parents that when you are registering your child in a school, there are documents you should ask for. You should go for an inspection of the school. You should ask for anti-bullying policy. You should ask for documents that are in place by the school. Okay, so from the reports that we've gathered so far, there were parents that reported bullying act, and the principal told the student, the parent, that they are just children, they will sort it out themselves. That is not a professional way of handling things. The school should have, I know schools that we've worked with that have anti-bullying policies in place. These things happen in school, and we also need to know as educators, as schools, that bullying is not a rite of passage. It is not a normal thing.
Okay.
These are people that would eventually become bullies in the office,
Yes.
become abusers at home. So bullying transcends just regular day-to-day. Bullying transcends day-to-day interaction and just school. Bullying transcends school, and in schools we can no longer act like bullying is normal. Bullying isn't normal, so we need to have anti-bullying policies in place, because in every bullying situation there is a bully.
Yes.
There is the bullied.
Okay, and there are witnesses.
And there are witnesses that aren't saying anything.
Talking about witnesses, let me get a student's perspective. Comfort is here in the studio. Mm-hmm. She is a 400 level student of University of Lagos. Mm-hmm. Comfort, talk to me about, have you been a bully? Have you been bullied before? Have you witnessed bullying?
Well, I've never been bullied before. I've never been a bully, but I've witnessed bullying in my secondary school.
How was it like?
It was really not nice. At some point, I felt I actually wanted to defend some of the students, like fight for them, but I couldn't do much. Like when I was in senior secondary school, you see, like some of my classmates, okay, they don't allow like junior students. You're not supposed to pass the corridor. We have to get to like the art room, and you want to pass the corridor as junior students. You want to pass the corridor to the art room, and then you see senior students stopping you. They don't want you to pass through the corridor. How are you supposed to get to where you're going to if you don't pass through the corridor? And also, like, you see a senior student is giving a junior student like maybe 15 naira, money that is not enough for the student to go and buy something, and then
Yes.
you tell you, okay, go and get me something of 500.
Right.
And then you don't know if the junior student has enough money to buy it, and you just be like, go and get me this thing. And they would have asked for the student class, they would have asked for the junior student class, like, what your class, your name. So you see, I don't even know how these children, how this junior student managed to, but they will definitely come back. They'll
Okay.
definitely bring that thing. So this thing, it is transcending. When the junior student, when they treat the junior student like that, some of them will be like, okay, when me too I get to senior school, I will do something like this, because now they are treating me like this, nobody is fighting for me. So I would definitely want to, they want to do something like this too when they are in senior class. So like,
Okay.
this bullying, it never stops actually.
All right, that's a voice of comfort for students of University of Lagos talking about bullying and getting a student's perspective from her. Now, Tosin, let's talk about, in cases where a child reports to the parents, for instance, and then you hear the parents say, it's your first year in school, you will get used to it, you'll be fine. Then sometimes, a lot of children have this experience. They say, you need to toughen up. You're my child. We went through the same system. You find parents encouraging their children like that. And so these children are not able to tell the extent of the bullying. What more can parents do? While we want children to be very tough and we don't want them to be sissies, so to speak, how do you strike that balance of wanting your child to be tough, but at the same time, you don't want to lose or damage that child?
Okay, so when we talk, let me continue from where we stopped. Anti-bullying policy. An anti-bullying policy isn't just a vague concept. It gives you step-by-step approach per school what to do. So, for example, as a student, you're bullied. You have a complaint box you can write if you don't want to talk to a teacher.
But now I'm looking at the parents,
The,
not even the school. I'm
yes,
talking about a parent who tells a child that it's one of the rigors of going to school. You need to toughen up. It comes to school life. I'm talking about parents here. At what point do we strike a balance from not? Yes, we don't want our children to be CCs. They come to report every single thing, but at the same time, we don't want to lose them. How can parents strike a balance in that regard?
okay, each parent needs to understand what is normal normative behavior and what is abnormal behavior. Bullying is not a normative behavior. It is not a rite of passage. It is a psychological disorder to find joy and pleasure in bullying another person. So parents need to educate themselves as to what is bullying behavior. Oh, your stuff was collected in school.
Yes.
That is not normal. That is even against the school rules. So parents need to give their children confidence first of all,
Yes.
in the fact that they can talk to them. It's not about being a CC, because children will definitely grow, and at the time they become teenagers they would lose some of those CC characteristics, but usually at GS1 they are adolescents. So at that point they need to be able to trust their parents enough to be able to listen to them. Secondly is that parents need to learn how to handle issues, to not that you go to the school and you start shouting and all of that. Once your child tells you what to do, secondly is that you report to relevant authority. You aren't supposed to maybe call the the child's parent, the bully's parent, and be having all of those kind of conversations with them. You go to the school authority and you tell them what is happening to your child. Lay a formal complaint to your child.
Okay.
Yes, and
Let me just jump in there.
yes.
Tosin. I also think much more parents need to be very vigilant and very watchful of their children. I share personal experience with you. While I was in secondary school, my mom, my late mom, bless her soul, was a trained teacher. And so she noticed I was unwilling, unlike me, I was unwilling to go to school very early that day. So she called me back and said, "Why are you hesitating about going to school?" And I gave a flimsy excuse. And she said, "No, I know you very well. You like to go very early. There's something wrong." And then I opened up to her and said, "There's a girl in school who's been troubling me." Then also, another instance again, I was dilly-dallying about going to school, and then she noticed my mood, and then she asked me, "Why are you not very eager this morning?" And I said, "Okay." Then I had this chicken pox on my legs, and then I told her, she was okay. you know what, don't think about it, don't listen to her, just go to school, be yourself. I believe there is a place for parents to be very watchful, observant of their children, and
Absolutely.
then yeah, so that you can nip, such things in the bud. But now, tell me about in instances where a parent tries to find out from their children if they are being bullied, but they hit a brick wall. There is no response. What do you think can be done in such instance?
Okay, so a school has teachers as well, not just the child. So when a parent observes, as you said, that something is wrong with the child and the child isn't really coming forth, I think it's time to start asking questions from the school. What may be happening? One, two. Aside asking the school, there may be other friends. Most likely in schools, your child has friends that you have access to. You may need to talk to their friends. And very good instance, one thing that I've noticed, observed that works so much: pay a visit to the school unannounced. Go find out, just go to the school, you would see for yourself. There's a case that we handled recently of a child that was even the bully, but came home and kept on saying, my friends don't want to talk to me and all of that.
Yes.
We advised the parent to go to the child's school, and in fact the mother got to the school during break and said, so why are you all not talking to my child? Everybody said, because your child is bullying all of us.
Yes.
So imagine the flip side of things now. So the mother made the child, of course, had a talk with the child. The class teacher was there, and then there was an apology. So yes, when you can talk to your child's class teacher, one, if that doesn't seem to work, pay an unannounced visit to the school. You will see things for yourself. You'll be able to ask the relevant questions and you get the truth out so that you don't lose your child.
Let me get a student's perspective. Comfort, talk to me about you're a student, you interact with these people a lot of times. Tell me about how you think bullying can be curbed in either a secondary school or universities per se.
Well, like she, for me, I feel basically it's about the parent. It depends on training. How many hours do we spend in school as students?
All right, let me hold your thoughts there.
Okay.
Let me put Mayawa on the speaker. He's unfortunately late to the show, but let's get Mayawa's perspective. Mayawa, are you there? Okay, while you're trying to make your way, well, it's about 5 minutes to the end of the show. Let me just get your perspective on cultism. Talk to me about, you have worked in this space before. It's something you're very familiar with. You've interacted with them a lot of time. Tell me about, if you have interacted with any school pupil before who was on the verge of joining a cult, or who is a cultist, and tell me how the experience was. Okay. But then, yes, go ahead. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about solution here. Are these children redeemable? Okay. 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 All right. Yes. All right, Maiwa, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Well, we hope you still try to join us in less than 1 minute. All right, Comfort, I'm getting a student's perspective here. You were telling me about how you think bullying can be stopped in our secondary schools.
Well, you should first start from our parents. You
Okay.
should first start from our parents. Parents need to do a lot of work, because actually students don't get to spend like there are sometimes students spend 24 hours, 48 hours at home with their parents, but in school most times you just spend 12 hours, 8 hours. So the teachers cannot really do much, and then the teachers actually need to do their best. Some secondary schools are actually very big that teachers don't know what's going on around. Like in my secondary school was really big. Senior students will go to the back of the compound. When junior students are passing, they bully them, they call them a, they extort money from them, and then tell them not to report and all of that. So I feel there should be this routine check. Teachers should go about the school, try to see why a student is not in the class at the appropriate time. Maybe doing all of this, while the teachers are doing all of this, they get to know that okay, something is actually going on.
All
This
right.
So that is it.
Okay, all right. If you just tuned in, it's almost the end of the show. 29 minutes past 10 in the city of Lagos. My name is Adebola Adedugba. We've been talking about bullying and cultism in our secondary schools. My guest has been Tosin Oluwatosin Mogbadunade, a visionary educator. She writes, trains, and counsels on issues pertaining to family, schools, and then corporate clients. Well, unfortunately, Balogun Mayowa could not join me in the studio, but yes, we got his perspective on the phone, and he is an anti-cultism campaign person. He's been to several secondary schools to enlighten the students about the dangers in cultism. All right, that's the most we can take. But before I wrap up, this program, I just want to leave a voice and a word out there to parents out there. Yes, I know the school is in charge or in care of your children, but then the onus lies on you. The responsibility lies on you. You need to pay attention to those children, be observant, be vigilant. As a parent, the onus lies heavily on you, all right? As you train up your child, as you raise those children, be careful, be mindful, be reminded that they can become menace in the society. Yes, they can become a menace in the society. Let's train our children properly, let's correct them with love, and let's help our nation be a better society. So I come your way again next time with another interesting topic. Stay safe and stay secure. Bye for now.
You know, most of these secondary schools, they need to employ more teachers. Like what she was saying,
That is it now.
they usually don't
It's
have
very big.
they don't have
Students
enough
go to the
teachers.
back. First, secondary school teachers don't stay inside the classroom. They don't stay inside the classroom, so they don't know what is going on. So they need to employ more, even if you not like people that will just go around and be checking, routine check, do what
And not overstress